Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, Battle of the 100K Offers.
It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
We're talking Chase versus Amex versus Capital One. First, of course, we have the giant mailbag, but I'm using my prerogative to not read giant mail.
So we get small mail this week? I mean, like microfiche or something? No.
What's your favorite alternative to giant mail? Do you
remember? I do very strongly enjoy confession time. So I'm hoping
confession time, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice. Very good.
Very good. All right. So
my favorite irregular segment is confession time.
Yeah. Last week, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know. I erroneously said I thought that Sonesta had bought Red Roof Inn.
And I was like, why? Why would they do that?
You were like, I highly doubt that. Well, you were right. They didn't buy Red Roof Inn. They bought Red Lion Hotel.
Oh, Red Roof's cousin. I see.
Who knew they were different?
Who knew?
I didn't know there were two Red related hotel chains.
They come from the same family.
And so, sorry
Radisson
about
Red is another cousin.
Everyone I worried about, everyone I said, be careful about earning those roofie points. Well, that's a whole nother confession. It turns out they're not roofies.
No,
they're called Ready Rewards.
Rewards.
Your Ready Rewards, as far as I know, are actually safe.
Good taste one out there. Yeah.
Sonesta has not bought Red Roof Inn, and Red Roof Inn at some point in their history made the very wise decision not to call the rewards program roofies. Okay.
You can't tell me it wasn't floated at a meeting, but thankfully they shut that down.
Floated out the door.
right out the door. Okay. So they did not buy Red Roof Inn. They bought Red Lion, and so all of the Red Lions out there that I've never ever seen are now Sonestas, presumably, or soon to be,
or will be soon. Yeah. So that's like those high end hotels like Knights Inn and
that's a Red Lion. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Now I'll probably have to do confession next week and say no, that wasn't it.
I'm like 89% sure that you Mattress ran a Wyndham promotion at a Night's Inn in Detroit, so I'm pretty sure
too. But I could have sworn I saw that was.
I don't. Maybe they flipped. Who knows?
Maybe
All right.
I don't know. No. I just need to keep my mouth shut. It's just a problem when doing a podcast. Oh boy, I need one of those people that like whispers in your ear, like correct things.
You need the voice.
Or maybe those like little Google earbud things will get better and I'll be able to do that in the future.
And just correct you right away.
Yeah. Maybe just change the sounds coming out of my mouth so that I say things correctly.
We'll get there someday.
Occasionally, like an ad for Google will sneak out unbidden.
All right. Well, now that we've confessed our sins here, it's time to move on to what crazy thing did
Nick do this week?
Me.
So Nick,
I have no idea what this is, for the record. I literally had no idea what crazy thing happened this week.
On the week that Chase decided to come out with their 100K offer, which is of course going to be big news and mean lots of work for the team, Nick decides to take vacation for the whole week.
Hey, what can I say? Timing is everything, Greg.
Well timed. Of course, Nick comes back from vacation to do these shows. So thank you for that, Nick. We appreciate that.
No problem at all. I'm enjoying a beautiful view as we talk about this of the Smoky Mountains. So I've got like this office. We have an Airbnb, beautiful house outside of Asheville, North Carolina this week. And it's just, the office has this magical view of the mountains. So perfect little place to be doing the podcast from this week.
Oh, awesome. But this is not your Vacasa vacation rental, is it?
It is not. No, that's coming up actually soon, but not yet. So yeah, this is this week. First, we were in Asheville for a bit. We did some camping earlier this week and reconfirmed that we are not campers. It's just not a thing for us. So, and actually we did glamping. Our friends camped and we did the glamping experience. And even
that
glamping,
wasn't?
No, I don't want to pay $130 a night to stay in a tent, Greg. I mean, right. I want to
I understand that.
Forget about that. Come on now. It doesn't make any sense. With holes in the floor and bears walking by, people seeing bears every day. Nice bears are nice and all. I don't want them near my tent at night. So probably a hotel guy from here on out.
There you go. Well, it's good that you're a points and miles guy then, because
That's
you
right.
can use your
It is.
points to stay at hotels for free or cheaply. So
Exactly.
that's good news. So it just happens that we're both not camper guys.
Not campers.
I
No.
think I've told my camping story before on the show, so I won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was cut short.
It's like
I'm
50
not a camper.
something, 50 something at night. So I wake up like at 50 something degrees in a tent, and I'm like, why did I spend $130 to freeze when I could stay at a hotel for a few points? Like there's a nice Hyatt place in Asheville, I hear, that's 12,000 points a night that I'm pretty sure has heat and electricity.
It probably does.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah. And its own
All right.
bathroom. And all right, enough about that. All right. So crazy thing. I took vacation at just the right or wrong time, depending on your perspective. So
Right. All right. So it's time for Mattress running the numbers. And this week, Nick's going to talk about how we can stack IHG deals to death so that you get so many rewards from staying at an IHG property that you can't afford not to stay at IHG, right?
Well, something like that. We'll see. Greg is going to decide whether or not you can afford to miss this promotion. I'll stack it up for you. So there are a whole bunch of different stacking IHG promos going right now. And so I'm going to pretend as I explain them that you're going to make $100 stay at like a Holiday Inn or something, because that'll make it easier to play out the example. So a few different stacking things. First up, and just first, because this is the order I have written down in, there is a chase offer for 15% back on IHG stays up to, I don't know, $46 back or something. So you make your $100 stay, you pay with a card that has that chase offer link, you get $15 back, you're $85 out of pocket. If you go through a shopping portal, I think right now Top Cashback is still offering 6% back for IHG. So there's another $6 in your pocket. So you're down to $79 net after you've gone through the portal and used your chase offer. Now, there is a targeted IHG offer right now. And my offer for IHG, which is like the poorest version of the offer out there, if you have the targeted offer, is 5,000 IHG points for a single stay. So you get 5,000 points for making that single stay. Then there is also a Simply Miles offer that just got renewed. So it came out again. You need to sync it up. You need to sync that Simply Miles offer to a MasterCard. And good news here is that the IHG credit card is indeed a MasterCard. So you can sync that up with Simply Miles, and you can get yourself, I think, a total of 1,875 American Airlines miles, because there are two different stacking IHG offers. There's one for 1,100 American Airlines miles at any IHG property when you spend $100 or more. And there's another one for a bunch of the mid-tier brands that's 875 points for a Holiday Inn stay or a Holiday Inn Express stay or Candlewood, whatever they are.
Right.
So 1875 is what I had down there, which actually, as I say this, I'm realizing I think was really 1975. I think I wrote it wrong. But at any rate, just under 2,000 American Airlines miles.
Right.
Then you pay with your IHG Premier card, and ordinarily you'd earn 10x points. But right now, there isn't one of those spending offers that Chase has out that's good for 14x with the IHG Premier card at IHG properties. So 14x on your $100 stay, that's another 1,400 IHG points on top of the 5,000 you earn with the targeted promotion. So you're up to 6,400 IHG points there, about 2,000 American Airlines miles. And then as a platinum member on a paid stay, you're going to earn 15x at most of the brands like Holiday Inn, for instance. So you get another 1,500 IHG points. So when all is said and done, I think you'll end up with about $21 cash back on your $100 stay, 7,500 IHG points, and just under 2,000 American Airlines miles. What do you think?
Wow. Wow. This on a $100 stay is what
$100 stay is my theoretical. Yeah. $100 stay, $21 back, 7,500 IHG points, 2,000 American Airlines miles. So 7,900 IHG points. So about 8,000 IHG points, about 2,000 American Airlines miles. $21.
All right. So
worth $100.
So let's do some rough estimates here. So let's say the AA miles are worth about $25.
Sure.
Add that to the $15 we're getting back from something or other you mentioned.
Chase. Yeah. So now you're at 40. Right. And another
so we're at
6 back from Top Cash back. You're at 46 back.
Let's make that 10 because there's often like 10% IHG rewards. So if you wait a couple days, I'm sure that'll show up. So we're at $50 back on a $100 stay. And so now we're getting how many?
Just under 8,000. Let's call it 8,000 IHG.
8,000 IHG points. If they were each worth, if you're willing to buy them for half a cent each, then that's $40. So we're at about $90 value back. We're not quite there. Not quite there. It's so close.
Close.
So close.
You were close, IHG. We almost got there.
Oh, boy. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a darn good rebate on a paid stay.
It is. I mean, I feel like the math would work out better on a cheaper stay. I know some of these numbers were based on $100 stay, but some of them
that's just
are
I
on
did
any
that for
stay,
easy
right?
math. Yeah, I did that for easy math. Yeah, the American Airlines offers required $100 stay.
Oh, okay.
The rest of those offers didn't, so you wouldn't get the American Airlines miles without $100.
Well, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, that is a big piece of it. So,
yeah,
and it makes for easy math. But the key here is if you got an IHG stay coming up, or you need a one night stay, and it can be at an IHG property, that's a darn.
Or if you're trying to decide whether to spend $130 on a tent or
$100 property, which was widely available in the area at the time, then and you're playing in
what to do.
Mode, so you could book back-to-back nights in two different people's names, and of course. Why would you spend $130 on the tent? Who would do that?
Obviously, you wouldn't until IHG starts renting out tents.
I certainly wouldn't again. That's for sure. That was enough. Enough there. Okay. So then that, I think, brings us to the main event.
Yes. Main event. Battle of the 100K offers. So the big news, obviously, this week is Chase Sapphire Preferred 100,000 points for signing up and spending $4,000. We haven't seen this since almost exactly 4 years ago. I mean, 4 years and about 5 months ago, the Sapphire Reserve offer ended. The famous offer when Chase first debuted the Sapphire Reserve, that's their more expensive card, made a splash with a 100,000 point offer, because at the time, 100,000 point offers were extremely scarce. And so that made a huge splash. Everybody jumped on board the Sapphire Reserve train back then. Now it's been over 4 years since we've seen that from Chase on the Sapphire, in the Sapphire brand. Now they're out on the Sapphire Preferred. That's their $95 card, 100,000 points. It's awesome, but they're not the only 100,000 point game in town these days. We've talked before a number of times on the show that offers have been getting better and better and better, and 100,000 is becoming like
that's like the new standard, right?
I wouldn't say standard, but it's sort of like maybe it's the standard high bar now, right? It used to be, we'd get excited when we saw 70,000 or something like that. Now we're excited because we see 100,000, but it's still not, unheard of, because a lot of people are doing it. So let's talk about the other contenders real quick. We've talked a million times on the show about the Amex Platinum 100K offer. 100,000 points after, what is it, $5,000 spend, I think.
Yeah.
And they throw in 10 points per dollar earning for 6 months at grocery stores and gas stations.
That's amazing, right? I mean, that's an incredible offer. We've
amazing offer, but that's on a $550 card.
Big difference.
But if we go back to the $95 card arena, we've got Capital One. And they have their 100,000 point offer for the Venture card. That
requires a lot of spend.
Requires a lot of spend.
Heavy spender.
$20,000 spend.
And you get a year to do it or something?
I think so. Yeah.
The first 50,000 points are on 3,000 spend, and that has to be done in the first 3 months. But then I think you have the rest of the year to meet the 20,000 spend. So you get a long time to meet the 20K, but you do have to commit a lot of spend to that card.
Right. So before we talk about particulars, just off the top of your head, which offer do you think is best?
I mean, the platinum card offer is just so unprecedented. I think that for most people, the platinum card offer, especially now, if you haven't gotten it still, which if you haven't gotten it, I think you're kind of crazy. And if you're that crazy though, and you've missed it somehow, I think heading into summer, that's an even better offer now, because you got times when people are going to be taking road trips. They're going to be spending on gas, obviously groceries, you can have your barbecues. And maybe now that if people are getting together and things like that again, you might be buying some more groceries to invite people over and have a meal or something like that. So I think that the potential on the platinum card offer is so big, that I think that that's still the best offer. However, it's only the best offer if you're willing to maximize the use of transfer partners, or you're willing to open the Schwab Platinum down the road. So you're talking about at least 2 years of $550 annual fees, and that's kind of hefty. So if you can't make use of the other benefits, and you're not willing to maximize transfer partners, and you don't really want to spend $1,100, I think the Sapphire Preferred is a really, really strong contender. So it's tough. I feel like the Platinum card is still the best, but I don't think that Chase could have possibly done any better on the Sapphire Preferred. I think it's a monster offer still. And if you're eligible for it, you're kind of crazy not to go for it.
Yeah. I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate
Good.
here and
Good.
try to argue for the Venture as being the best offer.
Really? Okay. All right.
Just because I
want
to mix things up here a little
like
bit, because the other two are certainly the ones that seem like the best offers and are obvious, right? Okay, here goes.
I'm looking forward to that. Like, get the popcorn ready, kids.
Right. I've got to figure out my game plan here. No, we've talked before about how the Venture is great for those who really just want one card or maybe two cards. And I think for a lot of people who are in that camp, that 20,000 spend requirement is not really a big deal, because people who maybe this isn't great for students, for example, who are probably not going to spend $20,000 in a year, but most, working adults probably spend more than that over a year and on their credit card. And so I think a lot of people would see that as like, well, I'm going to be putting that much spend on the card anyway, so I'm going to get that 100,000 points without really any effort. And so it's all good. Plus all that spend earns good rewards in itself. You're getting 2x everywhere. So you're really going to end up with 140,000 points at the end of that 20,000 spend. Whereas if that same person signed up for the Sapphire Preferred, spends 20,000, then some of that spend would be in 2x categories of travel and dining, but a lot of it would probably be in 1x categories. And so they would end up with something less than 140,000 points at the end of that spend time, right? Okay. And then this person who signed up for the Venture now has a very good solid card for all around spend. And if they want to going forward, juice up their earnings even more, as we've talked about, they could add on the Saver card in order to get 3x grocery, and depending on which version of the Saver they get, either 3 or 4x dining and entertainment, right? And then they could even move those points over to the Venture if they want to transfer to transfer partners and all that. So I do think there are people for which the Capital One offer is best. All that said,
I'm going to argue with that. I'm
Okay.
going to argue before you go all that said. And then I want to hear your. So I think that it's a niche, like a slice of the segment that you just mentioned that it's best for, not even the full segment that you're kind of aiming at there. So I think the only people that it's best for are the people who not only want to have one card, but want to have one card that they're going to keep for years and years and years and put all of their spend on. Because long term, yes, that's going to be the better card to put all your spend on. But in 1 year's time, if you put that full 20,000 spend on the Sapphire Preferred instead, right? And let's say you did it all at 1x. You didn't do a penny of it in travel or dining, which would seem kind of crazy to open a travel and dining card and not spend anything on that. But hey, let's say you spent 20,000 somehow without anything on travel and dining. You'd end up with 120,000 ultimate rewards points. Now, if you cash those out via Chase Pay Yourself Back on groceries or home improvement, as you can through the end of September, that's $1,500 because you get 1.25, right? You get 1 cents per point. That's $1,500 in cold hard cash you can get through Chase. Whereas the best you're going to do with Capital One after that 20,000 spend is $1,400 in travel purchases erased. So it's not even cash back. It's not cash in the bank. So with Chase, you'll end up with an extra $100 at the end of the year if you don't spend a penny in a bonus category. So I think that the Sapphire Preferred actually makes more sense for most of those people, even if you only want one card and you want to put $20,000 on it. The only group that it makes more sense to go for the ventures, if you want that one card to be your long term, this is it. This is going to be my main card, because long term, you'll probably earn better with the venture card because you'll earn 2x on so many purchases.
Okay. I totally agree with your logic there. Totally agree.
Good.
Now, between the Sapphire and the Amex Platinum, I think the Sapphire is by far the more customer friendly card for those who don't know how to sort of game the system with rewards points, right? Because it's so easy to get good value, or at least a minimum of 1 cent per point value if you just want to cash out straight up with Chase, whereas Amex makes that very hard.
That's true. That's true. They do. They make it very difficult to get that base of points. And I saw this week that there was a rumor that they may even remove the 1.25% or 1.25 cents cash out from the Schwab Platinum. I didn't follow up on reading more about that, but I saw that rumor floated out there on Twitter. So
yeah, I don't know what to make of that. All that happened is the on the splash screen for the Schwab offer, they took out talking about that, but there's a lot of things they don't talk about on the splash screen. So I don't make a lot of that.
Take those things away and put them back all the time. The marketing bullets that they want to market. So okay, all right. So then I don't make much of that. So that hopefully will stick around. But if you just have the plain Jane vanilla platinum, then yeah, there's no easy way to cash out your points. I mean, there are probably some convoluted things you can do, but not an easy, simple cash out that'll work for most people.
And then as you talked about, I mean, if you want to get more, with 100,000 points on this Chase card, you could easily just take out $1,000. But as you talked about, you could easily instead do the pay yourself back feature in order to take out essentially $1,250, or keep the points for a year, upgrade to the Sapphire Reserve, and cash out those exact same points for $1,500. Or if someone else in your household has a Sapphire Reserve, just move those points to them and have them cash out for that amount. So there's a lot of opportunities there to, even if all you want is cash, it's a monster offer.
It is. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a big offer. That's an amount of money that will, for most people make a difference and, pop their eyes out and say, you know what, that'll cover a significant chunk of whatever it might be, this summer's vacation, the mortgage, this thing I really want, whatever it might be, it'll probably, be a significant piece of something that matters. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. But now you talked about transferring to another household member. I've been on vacation this week, so I haven't been following things very closely. What's up with that? I mean, is it still easy to transfer to a household member? I mean, I saw some murkiness there. What's going on?
So what happens is when you go online to move your points from your own account to a household member's account, if you haven't already set them up in your account as like a target to move your points to, Chase no longer lets you set them up online as a target. You have to call, or I would guess secure messaging might work as well, to ask to have this other person's card added as a destination for what Chase calls online combining points. So that's when you're moving your points to another card. But so it's not gone. It's still, once it's set up, it's the exact same process as before, which is very easy. You just click on combine points and move the points.
Does it worry you? Does it worry you that it might go away? The fact that, I mean, why would they take it away online?
I don't know why they would take it away online, but I don't know. I would be surprised if they take away that capability altogether. I don't understand why they would want to.
I mean, I tend to agree, but I also don't understand why they would take away the feature to do it online. I would be surprised at that.
Yeah.
In fact, I am. So I don't know. I sincerely meant that I haven't followed it because I had no cell service in my yurt in the woods.
Well, you're allowed to be on vacation, even if you weren't in a yurt.
No reception there. $130 a night for no cell. What? Are you kidding me?
You're getting away from it all. Come on.
Right.
People
I found like
pay,
a
well,
little
people
spot
pay
where
a
if I
lot
held my
more to get
phone
away
with the,
from it all.
yeah, they do. You're right. All right. So I think we're agreed that the Sapphire offer is really strong because you have a lot of different options. Obviously, transfer partners are huge. If you aren't yet familiar with Chase transfer partners, you should get familiar with them because we're talking about bottom lines, right? Bottom line, you could cash out the points for those amounts or use them for travel at those amounts. But you can clearly do much better by exercising the transfer partners.
Oh, absolutely. And let me just give a simple example. I've talked before about the Alila Ventana Big Sur that I love. It's an all-inclusive now in Big Sur, California. Hyatt charges 30,000 points per night, or room rates start at about $1,500 a night. So you could transfer 90,000 of your Chase points to Hyatt, book 3 nights. That would have cost you $4,500 in cash. Plus, if you were paying cash, you would have had to pay resort fees and other taxes on top. So the 1,500 is just really a starting point. Yeah.
Right.
So it's at least 5,000, probably well more than that, that it would have cost you in cash. But instead, by transferring to Hyatt 90,000 of those points, so you still have some points left over, you wouldn't have to pay any cash for that stay at all, which is just incredible. And that's just one example. And of course, not all examples are that sort of tremendous, but that
even if you're staying at a 5,000 point a night Hyatt place somewhere, that's still easily going to cost you $100 a night in cash versus 5,000 points. So you could stay 20 nights like that off of a 100,000 point offer and easily get more value than what we're talking about in cash. So easy to get more than $2,000 worth of value if you just put a little effort into transfer partners. But then once we mentioned that, then we have to go back to say, okay, well, but what about these other 100K offers? Because the potential value, I would argue, of Amex membership rewards points or Capital One points can exceed the value of Chase points unless you're using Hyatt. I mean, Hyatt, if you're going to stay at the Ventana Big Sur, I mean, that type of example is an amazing outlier example. But I think generally, if we're comparing apples to apples, I feel like the opportunities abound with Amex and Capital One in ways they don't with Chase.
Let's round out the lodging scenario first before we go on to others, because Capital One has a very strong option there, obviously, and you're about to take advantage of it. 1-to-1 transfers to Wyndham, where most rewards are 15,000 points per night, including vacation rentals at properties that could cost up to $350 per night. And when you book that way, you're not paying cleaning fees and other taxes. No. So you're actually getting more value than, let's call it, let's use easier math and just say $300 a night. So your starting point is 2 cents per point value, but it goes up from there because of all the cleaning fees and things that you're not paying. Mm-hmm. So you could stay how many nights with that 100,000 point offer?
I mean, 5, 6 to be 90,000, right? So 6 at least. And well, once you've done the spend, then you're at 10 nights, right? I mean, more than that, more than 10 nights, because 10 nights would be 115,000 Capital One points, right?
10 nights would be 150,000
to 150
Wyndham points. So you're just short of. So let's call it
10.
9. So nine nights. That 9 times 300 is, so that's $2,700 before paying cleaning fees and all those things.
Right so, and with the fees and stuff, based on the stay that I'm making, probably be about $4,200 for like if you were booking anywhere near the $350 mark with Wyndham. So more than $4,000 anyway.
So we're in that same roughly order of magnitude of the Ventana Big Sur example we gave.
Right.
And that's with a vacation rental property.
Well, with Capital One's lodging partner, we're not even talking about the airline partners yet. You can get that much value out of a vacation rental potentially. So, I mean, that's pretty strong, right? And then, with Amex, you're not going to probably, I don't know, can you do as well with Amex?
So with Amex, you've got your 1-to-2 ratio for transferring to Hilton. Mm-hmm. but they often have transfer bonuses of 1 to 2.8 roughly.
Right.
So your 100,000 points would become 280,000 points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 3 nights at a top tier, like a sort of Conrad Bora Bora type of thing, right?
Right.
So what are you offsetting? I don't know, $900 a night, 1,000 nights,
Yeah,
something?
around 1,000 a night, yeah, or so. So you're talking about 3 nights of that, right? So it's about $3,000 worth. If you're actually able to get yourself, really though, I would make the 3 night stay just for the record. You would want to earn enough
Right.
points to do 4, so you get the 5th night for free. But
Exactly.
whatever. So 3,000 ish after
Right.
you've done
Right.
the
So
spend.
it's not as good, and we're kind of reaching for examples here more than we would with the other two,
Yeah.
where because usually with Amex transfers, yeah, you're not going to get that kind of wildly outsized value. That's just not the focus there.
Right. So unlikely to get that with their lodging partners anyway. So,
Right.
so I think from a lodging perspective, if that's what you're looking to cover, then either the Chase offer, the 100K offer in order to take advantage of Hyatt, or the Capital One offer in order to take advantage of Wyndham Vacation Rentals, Vacasa Vacation Rentals through Wyndham. Rather, those I think are definitely stronger.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So flipping over to flights, I think we should sort of ignore or acknowledge that they all have some transfer partners in common.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember off the top of my head what they are.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch. I mean, there's Air France, and there's so Flying Blue would be one that they all have in common. Singapore, I think they all have in common, although Capital One's got the poor ratio for Singapore. They all have Emirates.
There you go. So in most of those examples, there are ways to get far outsized value by transferring to those partners and booking. Usually it's premium cabins in order to get those far outsized values with those partners. So now let's talk about their unique airline partners and where the sweet spots are and who's got the upper hand.
All right. So, I mean, Chase is probably pretty easy to start with because their unique airline partners are Southwest Airlines and United. So, Southwest, the big advantage there had long been that you could freely cancel awards without any sort of a fee and get the points redeposited immediately. That's not so much of an advantage anymore since you can pretty much do that with everybody. So, yeah. Southwest as a transfer partner really would only make sense to top off for an award, maybe. How about United?
Yeah, I mean, United doesn't have the best award prices anymore. They used to have great award prices. If you really know what you're doing, you could take advantage of their excursionist perk feature of their award bookings, where you can get sort of a free one way as part of a round trip award. But overall, it's not that great, but it does have that same strength that you just mentioned about Southwest compared to most foreign programs have not made cancellations and changes free. I mean, they might be cheap to do, but they mostly haven't made them free, whereas US-based programs have. United has some restrictions, like it has to be more than 30 days out to make changes and for free, or no, I can't remember the details. Anyway, you could go to our post to see the details, but it's actually easy to work around those restrictions and get changes and redeposits for free. So I think that's a pretty strong feature of United. And so if I was to book a Star Alliance flight, and I was pretty sure I was likely to make changes to it, I'd be very happy to use United to do that. But otherwise, there are better options.
Yeah, I agree. I think the excursionist perk is the big strength, but it requires obviously quite a bit of knowledge and then quite a bit of planning and a little bit of luck for it to work out right. So it's one of those things that, it can be good, and if you fly United a lot for work and you're earning a lot of United miles, it might make sense in order to, again, top off for the right awards, but not wildly exciting as a transfer partner. Can we agree on that? It's not a wildly exciting transfer.
It's good. I mean, it's solid, but it's not wildly exciting.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But by contrast, Amex and Capital One both have some wildly exciting transfer partners. So where do you want to start? What do you like?
They do. Well, let's start with Turkish.
All right. So Capital One's got Turkish Miles and Smiles. Now, it's not at a 1-to-1 rate, it's at a 2 to 1.5 rate. So every dollar you spend, you're earning the equivalent of 1.5 Turkish Airlines Miles and Smiles miles. We can all cross our fingers and hope for a transfer bonus at some point. Come on, Capital One.
Right.
Now the transfer bonuses are a thing again this week. So Miles and Smiles, great transfer partner for United flights. If you want to fly domestically, and you can find saver rewards, 7,500 points each way economy, 12.5 business, and then also a great award chart for other parts of the world. If you want to travel to Europe, 45K one way in business, Middle East, 49K one way in business, India, 52.5K one way in business, Africa, much of Africa, 49,000 one way in business. I mean, those are all prices that are well below United, for instance, or most other Star Alliance programs.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's notable that you're allowed to book one ways that cheaply, because we're going to be talking about ANA soon, which does not allow that.
Right. And the downside, of course, is that you will pay fuel surcharges on the airlines that charge them. They will pass those on. So that won't necessarily make them your best option for certain partners, though. Is if you stick with the partners where fuel surcharges are low or non-existent, then you can enjoy some of those really incredible sweet spots. So there are some solid ones there with Turkish. They're a great partner, but of course, because of the 2 to 1.5 ratio, not quite as exciting, because your 100,000 point offer then will get you what, 75,000. Right. Yeah. Turkish Miles.
10 one-way trips to Hawaii.
That's not bad. That's not bad, right? Or 5 round trip tickets to Hawaii, which, I mean, in normal times,
I don't think the other two programs would get you that, even with 1-to-1 transfers to other programs. So
no,
that's pretty darn good.
Agreed. So you've got a family of 5, you're looking to fly an economy to Hawaii. The Capital One offer is it.
Right. Especially if you're flying from the East Coast or Midwest, because there are some good deals from the West Coast to Hawaii with other programs.
True story. Okay, so Turkish was one of the great strengths of Capital One that neither of the other two have. What else? Should we talk about something else, Capital One, or should we run over to ANA?
Let's go to ANA. So Amex has ANA, and ANA has incredible award chart for Star Alliance awards, and for their own, and for booking awards on their own metal. They do require, as we said earlier, round trip bookings. So that's a negative, because you might not, it might not meet your needs. Like, you might not be able to find award space for the return or what have you. The other negative, which is same with Turkish, is they will pass along fuel surcharges, which other Star Alliance programs, United does not, Avianca Life Miles does not, and Air Canada Aeroplan. None of those three pass along fuel surcharges, but Turkish and ANA do. But ANA has some spectacular deals, like, what is it, 104,000 points round trip, business class, anywhere in Africa, including South Africa, from the US.
That's incredible. That 100,000 point offer on the Platinum card could get you a round trip business class ticket to South Africa. I mean, that would be very expensive if you're paying in cash.
Right. What are some other examples? I think it's 88,000 round trip to Europe.
88,000 round trip to Europe. Yeah. In business class, if you travel to Japan in low season, it's 75,000 round trip in business class.
That's on ANA itself.
On ANA itself. Yeah. And their partners, it's only 90,000. So it's not even that 45K each way in business class to Asia. I mean, that's terrific. And flying their partners would mean flying probably United, which has no fuel surcharges, so nothing to worry about there. Or I don't know, maybe Asiana, and I don't recall whether or not they have fuel surcharges. I don't believe EVA does. So I think your other partners flying to that part of the world will be reasonable as well. So that's pretty terrific. And by the way, low season, if you're going to fly on ANA itself, usually includes the Cherry Blossom Festival, which just blows my mind. Like, that's that time of year is included in the low season. So
right. And I hear flying ANA is not a bad experience.
Not at all. I like ANA, and their old business class. Some people, I feel like it's a love it or hate it. Some people don't like it so much. I loved it. And their new product, their new business class and first class, if that's your thing, look terrific. So if you can actually find availability on those, amazing. So yeah, I mean, ANA's got a number of different sweet spots. Australia also, I think 120K round trip, if I remember correctly. That could be on ANA. I can't remember whether that's the partner price or not off the top of my head. But again, lots and lots of really good opportunities. They also partner with Etihad. So if Etihad ever flies their A380 again, which is looking pretty doubtful, but if they ever did, you would have potentially some uses to be able to fly in the apartments, which you've flown and look pretty amazing.
Oh, they were spectacular. No point in rubbing it in though, since they're not
So they're
flying.
not flying now, and probably not again. So ANA's got some terrific things, but of course, if you don't want to pay the fuel surcharges, then they also have Aeroplan as a transfer partner. So Amex has Aeroplan also, and Aeroplan doesn't pass on the fuel surcharges. Of course, Capital One also has Aeroplan as a transfer partner, but at the 2 to 1.5 ratio. So you're going to get more bang for your buck with the platinum card offer if you're transferring to Aeroplan, right?
Chase is also going to get Aeroplan sometime soon-ish, we believe. It should be sometime this year.
Right. So then in that case, Aeroplan will be more of an advantage for both Amex and Chase since they have the one-to-one transfer partners. Now, another one-to-one transfer partner that two programs share is Life Miles. Amex and Capital One both share Life Miles, both have them at one-to-one. And Life Miles is another program that's very strong. And obviously here they share them. So there's not a lot to be said in terms of an advantage for Amex or Capital One, but rather to say that both programs have that strength over Chase.
True. Right. Yeah. True story. And as we've talked about, there are ways of getting a lot of value out of Life Miles. They have some unique ways of pricing awards where they have, for some reason, some awards just price lower than others. Like we don't know why. And then there's cases where we do know why, which is their mixed cabin pricing, where you know they have a zone-based award chart. So like flights to Europe cost a certain amount, and if you have a long leg in economy and another leg in like the overseas leg, let's say in business class, they will sort of average out those two and make the award cheaper. So you can get some pretty inexpensive awards through them, and so that's pretty nice. And
similarly, Asia Miles, both programs share that as a one-to-one transfer partner, and the same sort of thing going on there in terms of mixed cabins, right? And being able to take advantage of some incredible mixed cabin values. So that's another one that's quite strong. And Qantas is another one that they both share that's got limited uses, but in some cases for Emirates business or first class, Qantas can be good. For El Al, I know they have been in the past, but although I don't know if that's still the case or not, perhaps it is. I haven't monitored that situation. But at any rate, in those cases where both Amex and Capital One share one-to-one transfer partners, I said a moment ago that there's not really an advantage for one or the other, but there is. I guess I should have said, of course, the Capital One Venture Card is going to earn 2 of those miles for every dollar spent, whereas the Amex Platinum Card on most purchases is only going to earn 1. So
yeah, good point.
Get to those awards faster. So in terms of 100K offers, there's not an advantage for one or the other. But in terms of ongoing spend, the Venture Card will be much stronger for those one-to-one transfer partners they share, like Aeroplan and Qantas and Asia Miles.
Right.
Life Miles.
All right. Quick rapid quiz here.
Okay.
I'm gonna describe a person, and you tell me which of the 3 cards they should get.
Okay.
All right. And no cheating by saying, oh, they should get all 3, which is a legitimate answer, but not for this game.
Okay.
All right. This person is a travel hacker. They love to find the best possible deals they can with points and miles. They love flying premium cabins around the world. What should they do?
Clearly the Amex Platinum. And we didn't mention, by the way, Iberia Avios, 34,000 miles each way in business class to Europe. That's another great transfer partner, Avios, potentially for either Amex, or actually on any of the 3, they all share that. But so yes, I definitely that travel hacker person, Amex Platinum, hands down. That's my answer.
Agree.
Next.
Okay. Next one, we've already talked about the person who just wants one card forever and ever, and they want to have a strong amount of spend, and maybe they're going to spend some time internationally as well. And so they don't want foreign transaction fees.
got to be the Capital One Venture card since it's got no foreign transaction fees and it has that good return for ongoing spend. So
Right. And it has the plus of being a Visa card, with, unlike the Amex, which is more accepted worldwide. Okay. And how about the person you know nothing at all about? There's there's someone who says to you,
that's a really good
someone on a bus says to you, I'm about to get off the bus. Which card should I get?
It's funny you bring that person up because we're visiting with friends this week, and so this morning, one of my friends was saying, "Hey, what are you going to be talking about on the podcast today?" Like they have no idea about this miles and points game or frequent miler, that sort of thing. I said, "What are you going to talk about?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of stuff that might not appeal to you or might not be interesting because we kind of dig deep into these things. But for example, today we're going to talk about these 100,000 point offers and talk about which one is the best because there's several of them out." And her husband said, "Oh, should we get one of those?" And they are exactly in that category that you just mentioned. And for sure, it would be the Sapphire Preferred. That would be the solution in that case.
Right. It's the best option for sort of the widest variety of people, I'd say, without knowing their backgrounds. And it certainly isn't a bad one for either of the first two people we talked about either. It's just,
Right. It's very easy, very, very easy to get good value. And also, something that's particularly nice about the Sapphire Preferred offer is the $95 annual fee, because $550 for anybody who doesn't follow credit cards and isn't used to spending $550 a year on a credit card is something that's probably going to be a barrier to entry, right? They're going to say, wait, $550.
Right.
Even if you explain to them that they're going to get more long-term, that just seems like an amount of money that people will question and say, that seems like a lot for a credit card.
Well, and of course, there's rumors that it's going up to $695 soon. So that's actually an argument. A counter argument is like, if you have any interest in it at all, you should do it now because the rumor is that in July, they're going to introduce a new card. They're going to change up the card. It's not a new card, but they'll change up the card and increase the fee to $695 for new applicants after that. We don't know for sure that'll happen, but if it does, you'll be pretty happy that you got in at $550 for one full year,
right? And
then you could cancel when the $695 annual fee hits next year.
Now there should have been a fourth category of person, and that's somebody who spends a lot of money on groceries and on gas, right? Or any really significant amount and is, going to be spending primarily in those categories. Then I think the Amex Platinum offer really starts to shine, because 10X for 6 months and up to 15,000 spend. Somebody who's going to spend anywhere near that. I mean, if you're going to spend 10,000 at 10X, that's 100,000 points.
That's a sign-up bonus by itself, not counting the original sign-up bonus.
That's incredible, right? So, and that's not 10,000 on top of the 5,000 spending offer. You could do that 5,000 spending offer entirely on grocery and gas, earning 10X. And so then you're looking at 150,000 point offer. And all of a sudden that $550 annual fee is easily mitigated by the points you're going to earn in the first 6 months on that.
No question about it. No question about it at all. So it's a fantastic offer, and people who are spending a lot in that. What should they do after though? So the 6 months are up, and you tend to spend a lot on groceries and gas. I mean, then do you say, oh, go look over at the City Premier card because that gives you 3X in those categories?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe if you're not new to the game, if you've had cards for a while, then yes. And the reason I say that is because Capital One tends to be a harder approval for people who have a lot of credit cards and a lot of experience opening new cards and things. But if you're in that camp where you don't know what you're going to spend or which card you're going to use on groceries and gas next, I'm going to assume that you're not a serial credit card opener. And in that case, you might actually consider going the Capital One route and getting the Saver One card that has no annual fee, earning 3% gas and grocery, and then from there converting it down the road.
I thought it's dining and grocery.
Dining and grocery, excuse me, you're right, not gas. Dining and grocery.
Yeah. So the major contenders are like, and the other one that I would think people would be interested in is the Amex Gold, which is also that's 4X dining and grocery. I can't think off the top of my head like a good one that combines grocery and gas besides the Premier. But I'd still say you might prefer it. Like if you had jumped in on the Platinum thing, then you've you're building up your Amex membership reward stash. You might want to keep on that train, get the Amex Gold card, get 4X dining and grocery. That's long term. Grocery is capped at 20K a year.
25K.
25K, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe pick up another card for if you spend a lot on gas, a different card that bonuses that highly.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And there are other cards that bonus gas. The Premier I struggle on because Citi's transfer partners comparatively are just looking worse and worse now that you have access to the same partners from other programs. So, and Citi's just been trimming back benefits on the cards. So the Premier, the 60K offer is certainly far from being a bad offer, and 3X dining, grocery, and gas on one card is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. If you're going to be very limited, I'd stay in the same ecosystem.
Right. Now, Citi has become more friendly to cash back people. So if you just like cash back, the points now are easily converted to cash back. And so you can get your, instead of 3X rewards, get basically 3% back for those types of purchases for most types of travel, gas, dining, and grocery. So again, if you're a cashback person, Citi Premier is actually pretty strong. Combine that with the Citi Double Cash, which gets you 2X everywhere, and you have a very strong cashback program, which can also be used when you're ready to book those flights to Hawaii using Turkish Miles. You could use the points and transfer to Turkish. So it's still a very strong program, regardless of what we kind of said before about having some preferences for the others.
Good point. Good point. All right. So battle of the 100K offers. If you have to pick one, Greg, I know you got different ones for different people. We just talked about all that. But if you were in position right now to get one of them, which one would you get first? What do you think? Still, you stick with the platinum? You go with the Sapphire Preferred because it's only platinum's been around a while now. Sapphire Preferred. I mean, there are only so many chances to get 100,000 ultimate.
Absolutely right. Well, so ouch. So let's pretend. So I already know, like, my wife has tried signing up for the Platinum 100K offer, but she keeps getting the pop-up saying she's already had the card. My son keeps trying to apply for it. He gets the pop-up saying, "We don't like you." I already have the offer, so I'm not eligible. So, but if we pretend that one or both of them was eligible for the Platinum card, would I pick that over the Sapphire 100K? Ooh.
That's tough. It's very tough because there are 100,000 point offers that come and go on the Platinum card. Sometimes there are targeted 100,000 point offers. The 10X gas and grocery is the major add-on component, but then you also have the pressure of that annual fee is likely to increase.
Exactly. So exactly.
I mean, Chase only does this 100K thing once every 4 years, Greg.
Plus the Platinum's a little bit more of a pain because in order to sort of justify that annual fee, you got to figure out how to use all those credits they give you. And so there's a little bit of added headache.
And you already have enough headache on that front.
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to have my wife get the Platinum and my son get the Sapphire.
There you go. Why stop at one? I mean, it's like Pringles, right? You can't have just one.
That's right.
Pop, you can't stop. I mean, it's definitely, these are incredible offers. And so I think that we're trying to theoretically narrow it down to one, but I think realistically, I think Greg is right. Realistically, it's hard to miss either of these. Like if you can handle the annual fee on the Platinum card, then I just don't see any reason not to pay the $95 for the Sapphire Preferred with 100,000 points, because you probably aren't going to get another opportunity to get that 100,000 point offer, especially when you also consider that you have to be under 524. So, are they going to ever run the 100,000 point offer again? And are you going to be under 524 when they do it? I think if you're eligible for 100,000 ultimate rewards points, it's really hard to pass that up. So I think that's probably a getter for a lot of people out there. That's one to pick up. I still wouldn't advise anybody to miss the Platinum card if you can possibly add that. Right?
All right. One more question for you.
Okay.
Is the Sapphire Preferred. A lot of people picked up the Sapphire Reserve when it was a 100K offer, And as you know, you can't, if you've gotten the bonus for the Sapphire Reserve or Preferred in the last 48 months, you can't sign up and get a bonus for either a card now. However, for everyone, I believe, who got the 100K offer, I think it's been just over 48 months. So are you going to cancel or downgrade a Sapphire card that you have now to a Freedom, let's say, so that you're allowed to sign up for the Sapphire Preferred offer?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, it's a good question. It just made me think of something as I'll talk about in a second. But so would I? Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to do. I think that there's no good reason not to. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. First of all, we get the question all the time: is it 48 months since you signed up for the card, or 48 months since you got the bonus? And we do say it that way every time because it is 48 months since you got the bonus. Doesn't matter when you got approved for the card. It's the day you got the bonus that counts. So 48 months from that day, which is harder to track if you haven't been keeping track of things, but that's the day you need to be concerned about. Now,
and in general, the offers were like you had to spend this much in 3 months. So it's a pretty good bet that if you know when you signed up, add 3 months, then add 48 months. If you're past that, there's a good bet that you got the bonus
within that time
before
frame.
that. Yeah.
Right. Good bet. Exactly. Yeah. So there's very little risk in doing what you're talking about, in downgrading the Sapphire Reserve to, say, a Freedom card and then applying new for the Sapphire Preferred. The difficulty is in the timing and figuring out exactly how long after you've downgraded you have to wait until you apply for the Sapphire Preferred, because the system will still recognize you potentially as having a Sapphire card for some undefined amount of time. We don't know exactly how long it is. I always tell people I would wait at least a week after downgrading before applying new. If you can wait 2 or 3 weeks, great. I don't know. Do we know how long this Sapphire Preferred offer is going to be around for yet?
We do not. No idea.
I mean, typically these things last longer than 2 or 3 weeks. So I would probably gamble on downgrading and hoping that it's going to last 2 or 3 weeks. And I would wait the 2 or 3 weeks to apply for the Sapphire Preferred, because worst case scenario, you upgrade back to the Sapphire Reserve again. Chase is pretty easy about product changes.
Is there a chance that they won't allow it? Like, what if you get denied for the Sapphire and then you go to upgrade? Is there a chance they're going to say no?
I guess there is I mean, there has to be a chance, because you have to ask for it, and anything you ask for is not a guarantee. But I haven't heard of any kind of widespread issues with people upgrading or downgrading Chase cards. I can't think of a time I've even heard somebody say they weren't able to. I mean, I imagine that it's probably possible. I mean, you're not going to be able to, in the first year of a no-fee card, upgrade to a card with an annual fee. That's a Card Act thing about issuers not increasing your fee during the first year. But anybody who's eligible for a product change, I don't think I've ever heard of Chase saying no. Have you?
No, I haven't heard of that. It just seems theoretically possible.
It seems theoretically possible.
Why people would be a little bit worried about that.
Yeah, I can understand it too, but I think it's probably a very unlikely scenario that would happen. But I guess maybe there's a reason. I wouldn't be too worried about it, I guess, is what I'm going to say. I mean, would you be worried about it?
I mean, just sort of vaguely, if it was important to me to keep the Sapphire, then I might be a little bit worried, but I think I'd be more worried. Yeah. I think I'd be more worried about the sort of if I was someone who like often cycled my limit on Chase cards and did other things that could get you in trouble of getting all your Chase cards canceled. I'd be worried about doing anything here just to get eyes on the account and maybe have all that stuff reviewed. So that's something I'd be a little nervous about. But
maybe
no, if you use the card pretty much as intended, even if you have a Freedom card and each quarter max out the 1,500, I don't think that's an issue. The 5x earnings, I mean, each quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's an issue either. And I've done multiple product changes in a single week before, like on the same account. I've changed more than once in a single week. And so I know that could be done, and it wasn't an issue for me to do that. So I wouldn't probably be too concerned about it, thinking that I could upgrade back to the Sapphire Reserve again pretty soon, and it probably won't be an issue. So I wouldn't be all that worried about it personally. The other thing, though, that you reminded me of when you mentioned that was, and this is, I'm only going to say this because I'm sure that if I've forgotten, there are other people who have forgotten. So you asked, okay, when that 6 months is up on the platinum card, then what's next for grocery? And I'm sure that there are some people that are in that situation now because that 100K offer launched in November. And so there are some people who've recently run out. And so if you're like me and you're in that boat, don't forget that the Freedom Card offer that you signed up for last August, if you signed up during that last August, is 5x at grocery stores for the first 12 months on up to $12,000 spend. And
Good
you may
point.
not have maxed that out yet, like I
Very
have
good
not,
point. Yep.
and totally forgot about. That needs to become the grocery card. So, so thank you for the reminder on that, Greg, indirectly.
Actually, that's a really good point. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have forgotten that. All
Totally
right.
forgot.
I guess we're going to skip post roast this week because you've been on vacation, right?
That's a good guess because I've not only been on vacation but without cell service until last night. So, so yes, no, there's no roast from me this week, and you can't roast me because I haven't posted anything.
You didn't post anything, yeah. Right. So I'll let you go on
there
that.
We go. So we're gonna move right into the question of the week, and the question of the week this week is one I hope I'm not repeating. I hope I haven't gotten this similar question before. I can't recall, but it's come up a number of times in the last 2 weeks. So, so even if I am, at least there's a large segment of people that aren't aware of the answer. So somebody sent me an email and said, Nick, since you're the Turkish Miles to Hawaii expert, I figured I'd ask whether I'm spinning my wheels unnecessarily here trying to get this award. Wants to fly on a specific flight on a specific day. Saver award shows up on United, Aeroplan, Singapore, and Life Miles, but not on the Turkish website and not with the 2 Turkish phone agents that they talk to. And the ticket offices aren't responding to the reader's emails. So he says, do I just suck it up and pay 17,500 Singapore miles? That, of course, would typically be the second best bet from the East Coast of the United States. And so, so he's asking, what should I do? Should I just give up here because the 2 phone agents I talked to didn't see it? I don't see it on the Turkish website. And I emailed a couple of ticket offices and they didn't write back to me. So now what do I do? Well, I have the answer for you, Brian. And for those out there, I should say the answer. I have an answer that hopefully will help you. I sort of hinted at this in a post, and I can't remember whether or not I've talked about it on the show. But what I have found success with over the last year here, and when I say over the last year, I've only made a couple of bookings, so I haven't done this a ton of times, but is trying foreign ticket offices, because Turkish has ticket offices all over the world. So what I have done is just copied and pasted the same email to a whole bunch of ticket offices, figuring worst case scenario, 3 of those ticket offices are going to put a hold on the same flight, and I'm only going to call and ticket one of them. So it doesn't really matter. Nobody harmed.
Great idea.
Okay. Harmed in that.
And the list of ticket offices is online on Turkish's website.
It is. If you just Google Turkish Airlines ticket office, you're going to come up with the website where there's a little drop down and you can pick the country and the city, and they've got the phone number and the email address for the ticket offices. I've never found a ticket office that answers the phone, so I don't think the phone numbers are going to do you any good, but there's an email address for each and every one of them. And so just spam out the same email to a whole bunch of ticket offices, and you'll get some that'll tell you, we can't do that. You need to contact a ticket office in the United States, or some that have forwarded my request to the New York office or Boston office or whatever it might be in the US. And then of course that office never responds, but all you need is one to actually do the job.
Right.
That's all you're looking for.
Why copy and paste? Why not just send one email out to all of them?
And like BCC everybody? Yeah, I suppose you could do that. I don't see why not. Yeah, do that. Maybe that's an even better strategy.
Once you've done that once, and you've got that whole list of them in your email, you could copy and paste that next time you need to book one.
Now the secret's out. Nobody's going to respond to those anymore. But
oh boy,
hopefully not. But the reason I haven't told people which office or which offices I've booked through is because I have no idea whether they're going to respond to your email. Like, it's very hit or miss with Turkish Airlines. And in the beginning, Boston was the one that was responding to everybody. And because everybody knew that, Boston stopped responding to anybody because they got all the requests. So I can tell you who works, like who worked the last time I emailed, but they may not once I tell everybody that specific office. So better to have the technique of,
it's not because Lizzie from the Boston office now works for Vacasa Vacation
Rentals. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Lizzie got a new job. That's what it is. So, so yeah. So anyway, that's the best I can tell you, Brian. That's what I would try, and that's what I would try if you're trying to ticket a Turkish ticket. That would be the best strategy for you if it doesn't show up on the website or the phone agents don't see it.
Great answer. This was a very easy, question of the week for me this week.
It was.
I didn't have to do
I
anything.
guess I should have given you an opportunity to answer, but I had the
Well,
answer.
no, I mean, I didn't know the answer, so that was good.
There you go.
All right.
Well, if you've enjoyed this week's show and you'd like to get on our email list, you need to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe to join our email list. And you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and join our Facebook group, the Frequent Miler Insiders. And so thank you guys very much for being here with us today. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.